Good evening, everybody. Great to have you participating in this discussion on women's empowerment. So the first question was, is empowerment, women's empowerment, equality, and then, as Dipti pointed out, equity. So is it equality versus
Sorry, I'm out.
equity? So what is it? So
Sorry,
I
I'm
think you
out.
can start discussing.
I'm out. I'm out. Oh.
Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. I'm just,
You can't hear me?
no, I'm just out. I don't know what happened.
No, you're here. You're here. Don't worry.
Oh,
we
okay.
see you.
You're
Okay.
there.
I can
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question was, is women's empowerment equality or equity or equal opportunity, uh, considering the circumstances and the nature of the opportunity?
I can start if
Okay,
that's okay.
Maha. Yeah.
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 For me, women's empowerment is absolute equality. And that would include equity that we're talking about. And when I said absolute equality, I have equal rights. I have equal rights to education. I have equal rights to opportunities. And when I said it includes equity, if I have equal rights, that means if the government has to develop tool that will support different heights of people to see the view, for me that is being that's having I am empowered if I have equal rights, if my voice is heard, if I have space on the table, if I have the freedom to choose what's good for me. This is a big issue in the States right now, women's reproductive rights. So if a woman is being asked to to choose between her body and whatever the government wants or their religion wants, that's not empowerment, so for me that is
Yeah.
that is empowered women would look like.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Who's next?
Yeah, I had a
Okay, I
question.
can continue.
I
Okay.
think that it's what you feel about empowerment and what you feel about equity and equality.
Well,
let's-
I seldom use equity because for me, equality should ensure that actually there's equal distribution of opportunity, equal distribution of of resources. I like the example that you gave about the plate or the cup. It's the same thing with
Yeah.
the stool. Remember, there
Yeah.
is this high fence, and
Yes.
if you have a small stool, then the smaller people couldn't see the rest of the scene. So for me,
Yeah.
equal rights means whether it's the government or the organization will provide the resources to ensure that everybody has the appropriate stool. I call it stool, so that they can see the whole view. Everybody can see the whole view.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question? That's why I do not differentiate. I actually I put equity under equality. Maybe I'm different from the definition that has been that I have read all these years, and I have come to the conclusion that equity is part of the whole, the making sure that there's equality across, whether it's women, LGBT, or or based on
Minority.
race
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So just do I raise my hand?
For what?
I've raised my hand. Okay. So what you're really saying is that equity, according to the general definition, is that you are getting the resources but you're getting the resources according to your circumstances. So if you're using the definition of or the example of a stool, somebody short will need a higher stool and somebody tall will need a
Yeah.
shorter. But you're getting a stool. But even that stool is according to your circumstances. In equality, it would be you're getting equal stools. So
Yeah, no,
whatever, yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
No,
please,
but that's
please,
why,
no, go ahead.
I think based on at this age, I already have defined in my head that
Uh,
equality would mean that whether it's the government, the organization, or whoever will ensure that those resources are available so everybody can be on the same, on the same height. You see what I mean? It's not I don't, I understand what you're saying, but I've said, for me,
Yeah.
that should be
Okay.
that should be part of equal rights of everybody.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
okay, so
No. So shall we hear some other people and then we can kind of rediscuss
yes.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Maha.
I can.
Yeah, please
Okay.
go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I think it has
Okay.
been a bit well summarized. And for me, I will say that equality, opportunity will contribute actually to get, empowerment. As Maya also said, equity should complete it. A quick example for me will be like in the farmers, usually people do small scale farm at house level. And then let's see, you have men and women. It can be institution, it can be private, it can be individual who come now come to help them to have a more plot, and so that to have more income from the crop yield. But the person or the institution did not go far. They did not see, for example, what are both for are at what level are for, about knowledge in farming, about modern technique, or maybe about getting even loan for fertilizer. The person just give them, assuming that both are at the same level. So for me, adding now, asking who does not have those stuff at the beginning, and adjusting that mean equity for me, is that mean equality will complete that equity to have be empowered.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, maybe then I can go next.
Yes, Dipti.
Shikha? Yeah. First of all, this is a great platform, and and having everyone like you people with so much experience. My answer is going to be in two parts. So one short answer. The short answer, Shikha, to your question that whether equality or equity, the answer is actually yes to both. And why? Because, it depends. Now, the longer answer for that is that to give you an example, do we want education to be available to everyone? Yes. So that is equality. And then do we, by that, just giving, education to everybody or making that facility or resource available to everybody, does this help? No, because for a variety of reasons, and we can get into that, the second question or the second part of the focus group discussion, is because people would have different needs. People would have different factors, enabling and disabling their participation in education, even when the education as a resource available. So we need equity then, for somebody we would need it because of the vernacular, maybe because of their gender, maybe because of the accessibility, maybe because of the distance. Now, having said this, I really think one of the things that I ask myself whenever we have a debate like that, it's very, it is actually not black and white, because who is seeking equality and equity from whom? And I think it is inherently nested in the power dynamics. So we are in that sense asking, one set of people are asking, from the other set of people. So what that means is that it is nested in the power, and we have to then also recognize that there are some people who are privileged. And then if you are privileged, then maybe we need to also talk about responsibility in that dynamics if we are talking about equality and equity. So I'll stop here.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I speak.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I fully agree with Deepthi regarding this equity and equality. So I will talk more from the savings and credit group point of view. When equality within the in the context of the savings and credit groups or economic empowerment context, it actually it means access to resources equally to everybody. But at the same time, if you look at this, especially we are talking about women empowerment. In the society, women cannot actually access those resources, or they don't have ability to access those resources, even if they're, for example, they provide opening up the bank account, because of their low levels of education and literacy, biases, discriminatory, within these social norms, and so barriers on the mobility. So they require special attention, or they have the special needs to access those resources, or ability to access those resources. For example, in case of financial inclusion, to open the bank account. So when I'm talking about Indian context, so the banks are actually providing like zero balance account. So without they can open the account without any money. So otherwise there is no, they have, if they want to open the bank account, they have to have some fixed minimum amount they have to keep in the bank. But they removed that hurdle actually. And minimum KYC documents. KYC stands for Know Your Client. So minimum KYC documents required to open the bank account, and even with the zero balance also they can open the bank account. So anyone can do, but women is mostly require these type of facilities to access to that service. And even if they want to use this service, mostly women will be comfortable to with the women agents actually. So they can't go to the bank, which is 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers away, because of the social barriers. Again, the hurdle on the mobility of the women to go to the bank.
Mobility.
So that's why government actually, or private agencies, okay, so they have provided a facility. The bank can open a outlet within the village by appointing the business correspondent. So within the business correspondent also, they can appoint more male and female also. But the programs actually, National Rural Livelihood Mission, State Rural Livelihood Missions, they started appointing female BC agents. So where female or women are comfortable to go and talk to them and open the bank account, start savings and access the credit or other bank services from that outlet. So these are the special services, or financial women inclusion, women inclusion actually in these activities enabled women to access the resources. Otherwise, if they are provided resources equally to men and women, men have more ability, access to the resources. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just had a
Anybody
question.
else?
Yeah, I just had a question for Anjan. I mean, you're talking about, opening bank accounts and things like that, but the kind of experience that I've understood village savings groups to go through, especially ones that are run by women, they manage the money rotating around within their group by themselves. They don't really have a bank account. The money never stays with any one person. It's either in the box or it's in somebody's, somebody's economy.
Yeah, you're right, Akhil. There are two types actually. You're talking about a group, savings and trade group called SHG, self-help group.
Yeah.
They can open a single account on their group name. But individuals, all the 10 individuals or 15 individuals within the group can normally save equally and access resources based upon the availability. But if you want to take bigger loan, so they cannot take actually. And for the universal financial inclusion, so each woman have their own bank account on their name, and they can save money as much they want on their name and access the savings and even access the bigger loans on their name from the bank. So there are two types of accounts. One is self-help group, a common account, and individual account.
Yeah, no, thanks.
For the
Okay.
Naila hasn't
Yeah,
said
I,
anything.
Nene.
I agree definitely with you, both of you, but I just want to emphasize on what Akhil was telling. In fact, we said development actor, we usually think that opening, financial services at the rural level, or helping them to have the village saving group, sometimes also it has to be contrary, not empower them, but it was contrary. But I know this is a long debate today, because sometimes instead the women are member of the group, but in fact it's the men beyond, and at the end also it's men who will take the money, not her,
Decision.
in spite of her participation every time to meeting. But it's a long debate. I think maybe it will be a subject for another day.
You're talking about women's decision-making powers,
Yeah,
within the
right.
house and also outside. Yeah.
Right.
Do we have anybody else who wants to say something about this? Or
Naila hasn't said anything yet. And
Yes.
Sumaira?
Good afternoon,
Yes.
Sumaira.
Yeah, and the group, I am happy actually to be part of this, I would say deep, discussion regarding equality, equity, and empowerment. Actually, for me, I think equality, is a basement through which that we can bring in, empowerment. Equity, it is like a solution, average solution between the two. But when we talk about, equality, so I think equality for me, and I think for most of us, it is about, enjoying the same status, and also to achieve, or to realize, all your rights in life, as a woman, as a human being. And at the same time, it is not only the realization of the rights, it is about also the opportunities that given, for me or for women, and men, and also how they can have the power even to capitalize on those opportunities to reach a very good, outcomes when it comes to their life. So for me, equality is about having, the skills, the knowledge, the power, that give you, position that you fulfill also your right, and at the same time, you use the opportunity that you have more effectively, and at the same time, also help you, to achieve the outcome that you want to intend. For me, equality is a basic and the foundation, especially when we talk about gender equality. And I think from our even introductory discussion, we did touch on how, gender inequality exists when we talk about, the social norms between men and women, between boys and girls, and how it is constituted actually by the society. And for us, I think it is the society who should dismantle that inequality. So for me, equality, it is the main bridge, to reach empowerment. Empowerment also, it is about, you know, your capacity, you know, to have a decision over your lives, and also has a lot to do about your capacity and how you are capable to influence decision, you know, that related to your life, related to the economic situation that you are in, relation to your social situation that you are in relation to all even violations that existing around you. So I think empowerment is the ultimate, actually. I would say good result for a good work for equality. And to reach actual equality, it is not an easy issue or an easy task. It is about, you know, how we work together. Like for us, when we talk about gender inequality, men and women, boys and girls, to address actually the root causes of gender inequality or any inequalities, because it is about hitting the structural causes when we talk about social norms, culturals, even economic, you know, when we talk even about the economic, the access to the economic opportunities, it is about addressing policies. Yes, there is some causes at the household level, at the community, but most of it is about the social structure, you know, about the practices, about the economic, you know, strata. It is about existing policies when we talk about really addressing equality in a comprehensive manner. So it is not an easy road, but it needs to be planned for it, you know, intersectoral at different levels, starting from within the family, the household level, going up to the different level, up to the national, global, regional. So I think empowerment, it is a long journey, but it can be reached. Without it, we cannot achieve, you know, the well-being. We cannot also address even poverty.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was just saying that we are going from the question to the next question. You know, when we are talking about socialization.
Sumira still has to say something. Huh? Her hand is up.
Whose hand? Okay. I can't see anybody's hand.
Sumaira.
Sumaira?
Hello. Yeah. Hi,
Yeah, where's
hi
Sumaira?
everyone.
I can't see you.
Ca-
Yeah, okay.
Can you hear?
Sumaira hasn't. Yeah, we can.
Okay. So yeah, for me, the environment or the culture that I'm coming from, for me, to be very honest, the women empowerment is totally I would say based on the equality of opportunities. For instance, if we see by nature, women is made different. Okay, women is, you know, different than men. So in all this, so if we say socially as well physically, so everyone, in every terminology, I think that or what I experience is that if I am given the equal opportunities, that is why I am empowered. But in the same culture, if we have the equal if we say we are being treated equally, but still empowerment would not be that you know, easy to achieve. So that's in short my answer to your question. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you. Anybody else? Or shall I just sum this up a little? Of course, I won't go into details, but does anybody want to say anything else on this question?
Yeah, actually, I want to come in, especially for this point actually raised by Samira regarding, you know, the opportunity. I want to raise a very important point. Yes, I can have like the equal opportunity, but unless I have the information, the knowledge and skills, I'm not going to get, you know, or to capitalize on that opportunity. So I just want to chip in with this point.
Okay, thank you. So can we sum this up, Akhil? Discussion till now?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. Hello.
And you can also.
No, I just.
Okay.
It's coming back. I just had one last question before you get on to the next. is that I mean, like Sumera has given a very interesting example, and now, I mean, how has equality and what is it called? I mean, equality and
Equity.
Equity.
and you know, in your lives, how has this struggle affected you? That is what I would like to hear. I mean, we do know the definitions and we do know the differences, but like, how long did it take for say, Dipti? How long did it take you to make a place in society, where people actually respect you for who you are and what you are? You know, things like that. So you know, how long does it take to sit along with the other guys in the board of directors and you know, be happily talking to them on an equal level? And you know, that is what is the interesting point in this first question.
So do we answer this question now? I mean,
Yeah, I think we can you know, we can use this to conclude this first question.
okay. Okay, so I'm assuming I was the first one to
Yeah, sure.
respond
I
on
mean,
this.
sorry.
No. I think you know, I'm glad you asked, Akhil. You know, to me, empowerment is actually not a destination, and it's a journey, and it's a process which is not linear also. So there are you know, same moments when I feel empowered and disempowered actually at the same time. And so is there a road to it? Is there a timeline to it? Is there, you know, a formula, a set formula? I would say no. It's actually dependent on a variety of things. You know, if I were to speak for myself, let's say, so I come from a family where women are actually expected to just get married and have children. You know, I'm from Rajasthan, a very, very remote, I mean, not remote, but it's a conservative side. But, you know, I mean, in general, the mood of, you know, the society is that. So from there to actually deciding that, one, I want to work, two, I don't want to marry, three, I don't want children, four, I want to continue working and have a life the way I like.
Yeah.
If you were to say that this happened the day I realized that this is what I wanted, no. In fact, because of the socialization, which is the second question for this group, I think, you know, if you have been trained all your life that this is what you do or expected to do, and your worth is only when you do these things, you know, it's a battle, it's a constant battle, not because externally when I am having this conversation with either my parents or relatives or at my workplace, no, this is even a battle within. And so how do you work on those? And so there is actually, you know, there are days when you move forward, there are days when you slip back. And so then from there, if you come to the boardroom where, sorry to say this, but even today, I think we haven't really helped men to have that, you know,
Respect.
actually their empowerment also in that sense, where they can sit across the table and would not make a remark if a woman in my office says that she has 2 kids and she has to look after them and she won't come for the meeting. So you actually share the boardroom with those men, trying to say that we're working in an organization which is for women empowerment, quotes and quotes. So, so yeah, I don't know how long will it take, Akhil. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'll stop here.
Yeah.
I have too much to say, but maybe not now.
No, it's very, very interesting. Thank you for that. I mean, it's
I will
Thank you.
yeah.
I will
Maha,
follow
please.
that up. Is that okay?
Yeah, of
I
course.
think the question we should be asking ourselves is empowerment external or it's within us? I think we have gone around the different, you know, factors. I always hate hearing we need to empower women. We need to no, it's us who need to empower ourselves. The men need to empower themselves. Of course, the issue now will be, are there resources? Is there education? Are there capacity that that will be available for women? You know, to feel empowered. Just following what you said, I come from a family. Well, my father had 4 girls. So he had, and this was in the 50s, 40s and the 50s. He had no choice, okay? But I always say my father was advanced for his time. Because he has 4 girls, he believed that all his 4 girls need to go to college, need to have education, need to work. I remember my father telling me, you can do whatever you want. If you marry, and this is amazing in the 50s, if you get married to a what do you call it, no good husband, if you have a job, you go and leave your husband and do whatever you want to do. And I think we had been talking about the environment, society. It's not an easy task because there are so many things around us. I just happen, you talk about privilege. I think I was privileged not in terms of money, but privileged to have parents like that who felt that way. So growing up, I felt I am confident. I felt I can do things. And I felt that I should really get education, get a job, and be independent. Now, when I said,
would just, sorry.
yeah. No, you go
Madam,
ahead.
I would add this, it's actually true that, the parents who were supportive, I understand exactly what you're saying, that people in the environment around you, I think that is the first step. And I think I've been fortunate. And I also think at the same time that it's a battle, also the people who support in you. I mean, like us, the development workers, it's not easy when we are asking for the shift in how people think or how the structures are. So yeah, I'll add.
Yeah. And
I
all my
just-
cousins, let me just finish the whole, the whole story.
Yeah.
I think the empowerment should really be within us. But again, what are the tools needed so that we can feel empowered or that we can empower ourselves? So I guess beginning with that whole family, I'm just happy to have the confidence because that was built in us growing up. Our cousins who were older than us, the male cousins, kept saying they should not go to college because at age 18 they should get married, So, but my father did not listen to that. So all of us went our way. Now I feel empowered because all these years I feel I know what I know and I know what I do not know. And therefore I am confident to learn from other people. And I am confident to hiring when I was still working. I am confident to hire people who know more than I do because I am confident, again, as I've said, with what I know and I do not know. Talking about boardroom, I have, because maybe of the confidence that I have, I know how to tell Akil, remember our CEO, I know how to tell the CEO, excuse me, I think that is not correct. I think this is what we need to do. And I've done that with another boss of mine in the Peace Corps who just couldn't look at me while I was talking. And I told him, look, I will come back when you are able to look at me. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm getting out of your office, So, but to be able to do that, we need to have skills. I heard the ring, we need to have the skills to do that. And very important skill is communication. And of course, for me, the first thing that we need to do for girls and boys is education, really. And I will stop there. Thank you.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyone
Okay.
else? Anyone else? Yeah.
No, I just, no, now I want just to tell one word to summarize because Egypt also as are well developed. It's just about the question of time frame. I agree, there cannot be, I don't think there will be time frame. I was reading over the report from the SDG, the last report telling that because of everything, COVID-19, everything coming in the world, they can't say the poverty alleviation will take now more than 40 years. This is just to tell that, in this area, it's difficult to give time frame.
Yeah. No, it is very difficult, but unless you have a sooner target fixed, a milestone fixed, you will never reach anywhere. And the kind of economic impact the world is going through right now I mean, I can't really imagine that, around 30 to 40% of the kids in the UK are under the poverty line. And they may just survive on one meal a day. I cannot imagine that. I mean, this is one of the richest countries in the world. I mean, showing the way to everybody else, but now it's almost a developing country. So anyways, I mean, you are right, Denny. I mean, my last publication was basically on that. So do you think we should go on to the next question?
Yeah, I just want to say something as well.
Of course.
That, we talk of being empowered within the family, but we are not an island. We don't live only within the family. So be it your workplace, be it your friends or relatives, we are all facing some sort of a disempowerment, because of this way. I think maybe this is the next question, really, because of the socialization, that it's very, sometimes to be empowered within does not really work very well. And you feel frustrated and you feel unhappy so many times, So just a thought. And I don't want to go into the next question because it's really, it talks about the next question. It's an answer to the next question. So I will then talk about, share some examples of socialization. So I think we had a very good discussion, and basic thing is that equity does lead to equality. Equality might not lead to equity, but equity would lead to equality, because then you are, talking about resources within the given circumstances, keeping in mind, the different needs of people. So I think you all really did a good job on this question. Thank you. Yeah. So who's starting with the next question? It looks like I'm talking to myself. Hello?
Anjan is going to sleep.
Everybody there. Okay. Yeah, so next question. You want to start, Anjan? Who's starting the next question?
Yeah, I'm fine actually.
Yeah.
But whatever I speak, I talk more from the point of the community, which I work with actually, not from the my point of view or my personal point of view, because I work with these women self-help groups for almost like 20-25 years, and I work with the women entrepreneurs. So from their point of view, when I observe this, how this socialization hindered their empowerment, actually, that what we call women empowerment. Because when I work with the women entrepreneurs, I work in one of the poorest state of the India, Bihar. So the women are, even though we train them on how to do marketing at this time of procurement, because they run small petty shops, grocery shops. But still, they confine their whatever their work only sitting in the counter. So most of the time, selling the things within their shop, which is located within their village. But whenever there is a procurement required marketing, they send their husbands. So because of this, one of the impact what we thought is because of socialization, because these women are like semi-literates. Most of their parents' influence, or maybe a little bit of teachers or community influence. So they think that marketing means procurement, going out means the male work, not our work. So actually that hinders their empowerment, especially they can't understand how to do the marketing, how to do the negotiations, how to bargain, leverage, all those things. They are missing that because of they're not going to the marketing. So even when you see this access to credit, so because these assets are most of the time, these family assets are their land or house on the names of their husbands. When they go for the credit, banks ask for the collateral. So even though shops are owned and managed by the women at large, but still, when it comes to the credit, they have to depend upon their husbands, the spouse, to get the credit from the formal financial institutions like banks and all those things. That's where actually, once you depend upon your husband means, so like it will also hinder your empowerment as a female. And I also see this unpaid work most of the times. Women are actually, whether this self-help group, savings and credit group members or these entrepreneurs, so confined to the unpaid work most of the times, like because they think that whatever the care they have to take at the family elders or family members are cooking, they think that is responsibility of the female, not the male. So that's why they end up with most of the unpaid work. That's actually hinders, their giving time for their upskilling. So, enhancement of their opportunities, or even go for the job outside. So these are the hindering. And even the income, for example, the family member, woman member, actually she manages the entire dairy. So take care of the, cows and or buffalo and everything. So when this milk is sold to outsider, the money will come to the husband's account on the name of the husband and the husband bank account. So that's where actually she loses that, like decision making and how to spend, where to spend, all these things. So whenever we conduct training program, so they try to send, especially when I worked in Afghanistan, so maybe some of you know. So because of these local conditions, female cannot go to the house outside. So they sometimes, some organizations, even international organizations, they train the male members of their family, and they come back and supposed to conduct training to their wives or members. Okay, whether it is cooperative group, credit group members, or this health or education. So that's where actually women are directly losing that upskilling opportunity because of these social barriers. And even in India also, when I try to work with these financial inclusion activities, where digital financial inclusion, the ownership and use of mobile phone is mostly with the male members or boys, not with the female women and girls. So that's where actually you lose the opportunity of using hands-on experience, using the mobile transactions, mobile money, and all those things. So this is what different various aspects I saw from practical point of view. These are the hinders of the women empowerment because of the socialization, from the childhood level or whatever. So
very nice. Very
thanks.
nice. Yeah, nice observations.
Thank you.
Yeah, Nene, your hand is up.
Yeah. I just want to add that from my perspective of socialization hindering women empowerment, I think for me, there are two sides of it. It can hinder the employment, but for me, it can be also positive. It can contribute to the employment of women. I will just give one example for each of them, why socialization can hinder the women employment. For example, I can say socialization for me is, when people come together in a setting from family to the community, to the school, like some group in the school, the family setting also is socialization, or the group like Solidarity, microfinance solidarity group, or all those are area for socialization. I will just start from the childhood. When in the family, if you are here, a girl, a boy is here, your little sister or a brother or elder brother. But if you every time since you are born, you were told, no, don't do this. He is a boy, he can do it, but you cannot do it. Or you are told, no, you should just, care for cooking because you are going to, to just be, a housewife at home, and the other, are educated in such ways that he will get self-esteem, self-confidence. So from this point of view, for example, we can say that socialization will definitely hinder, this girl empowerment. But where it can be also positive, if you go to school, for example, there are also some groups, some clubs in group where children socialize together. And those groups, sometimes you can have like hygiene sanitation group, or you can have a leaders group. With the group will help school management in all affairs that concern school. Likely here socialization can be benefit to both in terms of decision making, in terms of power, in terms of knowledge, and so on. So I think there is both sides of it.
Sure. Yeah, you're right. Naila, how about you? Naila?
Yeah, actually, socialization, I think, is one of the defeater of the empowerment when we talk about, empowerment and women empowerment. And I think most of the gender inequalities that existing even in my society, and I think in most of the countries, it is about the existing, actually, social norms, existing, stereotype and cultural practices that, really reinforce the gender inequalities in our societies. Even going back to my own experience, unless, my parent, God actually raised their soul, my mother and father, that supported me in my education, until I reached university, even after I got married actually in grade 1 of university. In Sudan at that time, most of the girls who get married, they will just drop out from university.
Wow. Yeah.
So I did actually determine and struggle with the support of my mother at that time, to stay in the boarding school, even after having my first child. Until, I graduated and also I did even my higher degree in UK. So for me, the empowerment, I think it should be the logo of every, person, particularly women, is not ever give up, especially when we talk about the social, dynamic and the social, structure and the situations that existing within our societies and our, communities and our nation. But for me, there is like two critical factors. For me, empowerment, it is about, the individual, and I can say it is internal, the person itself. It is about also the supportive, barriers or supporter like the family, because unless, your mother and father, support you to continue your education, I don't think you will reach that level. It is also about the community, surrounding you. So unless we work on the different dimension, to empower actually girls and boys, and also to change even, the mindset of the boys and the girls, I don't think we are going to reach empowerment. I think for me, empowerment is critical for any change if we are talking about economic or cultural or, even political, actually, change in our country.
Yeah. Oh, great. Maha, what do you have to say about that?
First of all, thank you very much really for sharing. It just brings back, my active time in development work. But the issues are the same even here. I think we have mentioned the road is not easy because there are social norms, depends on the culture. So I don't think there is really what do you call this one solution for all, because of you've been mentioning about circumstances. But I just want to reiterate that the work that you're doing, or the work that we have been doing, is really key to ensuring that we contribute to a woman, a girl, a boy, and a man to feel empowered, that he herself feel empowered, whether it's economic or it is basic education. But it's just interesting. We cannot have one solution for for everything because of the different circumstances, different in Pakistan, different in Mali, you know, different in India. And it's just a thought. I'm just sharing with you what I had been thinking while I was listening to all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Maha, one question to Maha before.
Yeah.
Do you, I mean, the world thinks American women are empowered.
No,
Do you? No.
not at all. Well, depends, you know. But you see, that's the reason why you have lots of protests. Like right now, as I've said, reproductive health, the government thinks that they are above the women's rights.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
depends also on the region. I feel actually, I come from Asia. I feel much more confident than some of the women that I know, you know, because of either religion, because of the tradition that they have. So I think it's a misnomer, but doesn't mean that American women, there are portions, there are, what do you call this, part of the population who feel that they have the right, that they should, and actually bring out the issue of rights here. There are still parts of the states where religion becomes, especially the conservative religion, becomes an issue for women, that we should follow our husband, you know, whatever our husband says. So there's a big job to be done here, and that's not,
Yeah.
I think some Asian women are much more, and African women are much more, what do you call this?
Empowered.
Empowered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Empowered.
No, true.
Yeah.
Thank you. How about, so how about Deepti? You want to say something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
You've been waiting for this time.
No, I think it's an interesting question. And let me just repeat the question,
Yeah.
because we have on records have not said the question. So the
Yeah.
question is whether the socialization hinders women empowerment.
Sure.
And you know, I'm glad, Shikha, that you brought this question. You know, we really like this, you know, as humans, you know, what is right, what is bad, you know, wrong, what is good, what is bad. Socialization per se, I think, is not a bad thing. I think if it is not this set of norms and social norms, there will be something else. I mean, something that we're trying to bring, let's say, and that would also be some sort of socialization. So socialization per se, I don't think empowers, disempowers. In some ways, yes, in some ways, no. But let's talk about this, that whether socialization in the context where, you know, most of us are, you know, operating, where we are saying that, you know, men, you know, are taught to, you know, behave in certain way. They have a specific gender role, and women have a specific gender role. And because of that, you know, does socialization take away some of the opportunities, some of the rights, you know, in the debate of equality and equity? Yes, I think it does hinder. I would also go on to say that it also sometimes actually enables. You know, to bring an example, say if I were to, you know, look at the women in the tribal area, in the tribal region in India, you know, when we say tribal in our context, you know, mostly the indigenous people. I see that women in that, you know, community, in those communities, actually have much more rights, you know, much more rights. By that mean, I would say that they, you know, their social norms allow them to actually walk away from the marriages. Their social norms allow them to actually remarry. You know, it's actually in India, you know, the middle class living in the urban, you know, and, you know, non-tribals have actually much more restrictions. So socialization actually in that context really help, and in this context. So that is one piece. The second is that socialization in the gender debate, I think we all would have, you know, similar ideas around. I think socialization within the same gender also is actually very interesting if you were to look at. So let's say a woman who studied and has gotten, you know, the way she, you know, living her life on her terms and all, and then versus, let's say, a house help that I hire, who also happens to be a woman, But, look at the socialization here. She would believe that she is not even worthy of certain rights that I enjoy without even thinking about them. And so her socialization and my, even when we have the similar gender, would be different. And not just this, in fact, me, and I'm saying as one privileged, woman living in a metro city, a man also who, let's say, cleans our corridors outside, would have a very different idea of how he would think, in that spectrum. So I think my life learning has been that everything is on such a spectrum, and from where you look at it, it makes a huge difference. But yes, would socialization of certain kind which take away anybody's rights, does that hinder empowerment? I would say yes. So that's my answer.
Great. Thank you, Dipti. Who's talking next?
No, I just wanted to comment just a minute, comment on what Anjan said earlier. Not a criticism, but just something that I thought was very interesting. A lot of the business practices and organization structure of businesses, they sort of lay out that there's a factory, and the people who work in the factory are factory workers. And then there's a marketing division that is external to that does the procurement and supply, the sales and marketing. And they are external, and the factory workers don't do the sales and marketing. And which struck me when you were talking about the woman only goes to the market to sell, but then she sends her husband to purchase and sell outside the market. Yeah, so I thought that there are certain things that have been adopted from these social structures that are even prevalent today. They may be right or wrong, I don't know, but they still do exist. Yeah, that's what I wanted to, just an observation.
Yeah, I'd like to add a little before because living in Afghanistan, we had a helpline for women, and 70% of the time it was men who were calling and saying we need help. Now, they were socialized to be stronger, to have control, to be mobile, to do everything, to earn and be responsible. But because of whatever reasons, the war, the being wounded or not being able to, it was the women who were working. And they would call and say, I don't understand why my wife or my daughter is doing this. I can't, sometimes I get so violent that I can't stop myself from hitting her. And let's talk about violence in this situation. Why, when we talk about empowerment, we also talk about women not being beaten, not being, and it happens. And why? Because the men feel they are stronger. And a woman is doing something wrong, and that's happening in America, it's happening everywhere. So one was about this domestic violence, and the other was, we were talking about equity, and we said, okay, equal opportunities for women. In Afghanistan, they are doctors, equal opportunity, women can go, but there are no female doctors. So the women can't go. And, sometimes they are given, and I don't know if some people will agree to this, but sometimes they are given opium and all to control their pain. And then they become addicted. So, there are very many things. And then Dipti talked about this matriarchal society where we have Jaunsar Babar here also, where the women can have two husbands, where when they come home, they can even have affairs, because it's a very matriarchal society and the women are the stronger there. So we have all this context. And I am, I think, empowered. I think I lead my own life and everything. But when I got divorced, nobody would give me a place where I could rent. Because the minute they heard I was divorced, they said, sorry, we have daughters, we have a wife, we can't have you. And it was taken for granted that divorce was because of my fault and nobody else's, not the husband's. I'm sure the man would have got a place to rent in no time. So there are these, I mean, even us who are empowered, we have to live outside of our family also sometimes and deal with issues like that. So just, I'm sorry, I just maybe got carried away a little. So let's get back to whoever else is going to
Hello.
Sumer.
discuss. Yeah.
Hello.
Sumera. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For me, to be very honest, this socialization really affects the empowerment, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it is something, it's a kind of social stereotype that is associated with every gender. For instance, in our case, in our society, what we experience most of the times, the gender associations or the socialization that is linked to a specific gender. For instance, woman is responsible for cooking, for taking care of the children, and for the house chores, everything. As far as the woman is doing all of these, you are allowed to work, you are allowed to do the job, going outside, okay, but you have to first do all your responsibilities. So here, see, it's like we just think that this stereotype, which is linked to our gender, it is kind of helping us to stay empowered. For instance, if I want
To multitask.
yeah, yeah. So if
Yeah,
you are doing all the
multitasking. Yeah.
jobs, then you are empowered, okay. But if
Yeah.
at the point, if you say that I'm not cooking, maybe because if I'm working full time a day, like my husband, and I say that I don't cook, but then I would not, my husband would say that, okay, just stay home, because your first priority or job is to stay home and
Feed
do the
me.
home
Yeah.
things. Yes.
Yeah.
So here, see, it's like this. And then at the same time, the socialization that is related or that is linked or we have experienced in Pakistan, most of the times the women or the girls, they are not allowed to choose the specific subjects for the studies. For instance, if we say that we want to study engineering or the subjects, or we want to choose a job to become a pilot, for instance, they say no, it's not for women, okay, it's for men.
Home
Men
science.
can be men can be only pilot. They can take this big risks or these kind of job, the strengthy job. So it's like this. So it's always sometimes we feel we enjoy this gender stereotypes that are linked to us to feel more empowered. So it's like this. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. We had for Women's International Day, we called people when I was in Afghanistan to talk, and there was a woman wrestler that I called, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, there is an Afghani women wrestler," and she was very empowered in her way, but I really don't know how she is now, because she was totally out of the norms of what a woman should be doing. Yeah. Okay.
I,
Thank you.
I,
Yeah.
I just want to make
Yeah,
a
Maya.
little comment. I do not know how older. I think I'm much older than most of you, and all of you.
No, I think I am. I don't know, but let's.
Not
No,
sure.
but I'm just saying that all these years, because I am empowered, and I will never guess that I am not empowered. And I think no one of you, both the men, these two men, and any one of you should even doubt that you are empowered. Because you are, and we are all, and it's really a choice that we have to make how we want to deal with external, right? I At this age, I always say, look, that's your problem, but I will do what I need to do. I will say what I want to say, but I said communications is very important, so you don't become rude or whatever. Again, it's just I feel bad, especially for development workers, the women, and you can kick me because I am not in the situation that some of you may be in, but I know exactly just hearing from my friends who may be in the same situation, how difficult it might be. I had both Plan and Peace Corps colleague. She was in the Peace Corps before, and then she moved to Plan. She got divorced, and she was the outcast in her community. She's Cameroon. She's from Cameroon.
Yeah.
And but she's a strong woman, so she decided to get out. So she got out and do whatever she had to do.
Yeah.
And she was, and when a new woman, prime minister or president in Cameroon, when a woman president came in, she was taken in as one of her secretaries. But she's strong, and she's, for me, that's how what do you call this? An empowered woman should feel. And I would like to talk about my husband. We have changed roles, okay? Because I'm the one.
Yeah, you told us yesterday. Yeah.
He does the cooking. He does the laundry. I just decorate the house, okay? That's the only thing that I do. And I always tell my friends, I just make him happy. I give him jokes or whatever. But it's a happy marriage. But I think my husband is empowered himself. He does the financial. Otherwise, I will be shopping all the time. But he feels good about himself, and we are very clear with the role that we play. So I'm not expected to cook because I do not know how to cook anyway. So
that's good.
So I just want the message that I think I want to say is, you ladies and you gentlemen should really feel empowered, and not. I know we can get frustrated, but as I've said, at this age, I don't get frustrated. That's your issue, and I will do what I need to do, and I will say what I need to say.
Same here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. But Maha, this is, we women, excuse me, are all giving our personal experiences of empowerment as well. But I don't see our men doing that. Not Akhilesh, not Anjan. Yeah, they are giving.
Okay, guys, you have to say something.
This thing. Yeah, exactly. So let's see how empowered they are within their context. So we are waiting. Yeah.
Anjan first.
Sai.
Okay. In my case, I have 4 family members, me, my wife, and my 2 daughters. All are empowered, actually.
Okay.
All are empowered in the sense. So they have access to resources, they have the control on those resources, whatever they have, and they can take decision. And only thing is, we within ourselves, before they are finalizing decision, we'll discuss and finalize based upon that. So maybe because of my long work with development sector past 25 years, maybe that impacted me. So, and my 2 daughters, they are actually right now they are living in UK, Leeds. Actually, they're one is working as one is working as a doctor in NHS. Maybe I can know what is NHS. Another one is studying in Leeds University. So maybe because of education, like what Deepthi already said. So they are like more metro or so their work environment makes a lot of things, and this thing.
Of course.
Not from the day one they started living in urban only, in metro life. So all are empowered and.
But Anjan, just a question that I'm sure if you were raised in India, you were raised by saying, boys are strong, boys are this, boys are responsible, boys should look after. And you have made a lot of change as you had your own children, you had 2 daughters and all. Was the shift from what you had been brought up listening to, was the shift difficult to, look at the different, difference between how you'd been brought up and how you have now become in?
Yeah, initially when I started my career in the development sector, I started working with CARE International. So where actually girls and no, even no, like women or male are like equal, or some most of the times women are high level compared to us. So that's where little first couple of years or 3-4 years we felt like okay, this is completely different from where I brought up and all those, no. But later on, so started learning actually. Okay, so it's not about male or female. It is about the talent and hardworking. So most of these, no, like my female colleagues, as per my experience, they're hardworking. That's why they got into that level position. So even my last job also, my CEO was like female, like, so because of her talent and hard work, both actually, she got that into position, and she has that what I can say skill also. So in guiding all of us. So because we saw that no, she has that capacity to guide us. And for example, if we give a document, she can identify what are the problems in it, and no, she can give very good feedback and make it more, you know, um, uh, acceptable, no, like
Acceptable,
way
yeah.
and all those things. Yeah. So because it's not about no gender, like male or female, it is about started looking at actually. Okay, this is about the who has
Capacity.
that skill, who have that capacity, and who can actually guide us properly, whether it is a male or female. So that's how yeah, it works out actually. Yeah,
Thank
initial,
you. Thank
yeah,
you.
2 3 years we faced that problem.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let me
Akhil,
just,
your
let me,
turn.
I know. I keep escaping from these kind of questions. It's very
Mm.
uncomfortable. But see, in terms of empowerment, I think I've been very fortunate in my life because my parents, well, my father was in the
Yeah.
foreign service and he moved around all over the place, all over the world. Every 3 years, he was posted to a different place. And you know, first of all, I've had to live with different races. And because he wasn't, even though he was in the foreign service, he was not, you know, Indian foreign service didn't pay as well as the American foreign service or whatever. And so we all had to go to local schools. We learned local languages. You know, there was a time when I could speak Ghanaian, and I could speak Indonesian, and I could speak Nepali, and I could speak Turkish, and you know, all kinds of things. And we had to integrate with the kind of communities that we were in. And so it really it empowered me. It didn't disempower me. You know, like I could live with anybody, and I could, whether male or female or black or white or green or blue, and still be very comfortable with myself, you know, and still be myself, you know, and not having to be diplomatic with anybody, you know, by saying a nice thing here and a nice thing there, and oh, you know, that's your culture, because I used to imbibe those cultures with me. You know, if somebody went to church, I'd go to church with them. Or if somebody went to a temple, I'd go to a temple with them. It didn't make a difference to neither me or my parents or my family, my sisters, my brothers, or whatever. And from an early age, I had this kind of exposure. In fact, when my father went to, he had to escape from from his parents, and he got an admission into Temple University in Pennsylvania. And the first thing he did was, when he was crossing the Atlantic in a ship, you know, they used to travel by ship in those days, and he just abandoned everything Hindu in him. He said this has been such a restraining religion and a social structuring, confining system, that he said, I will never believe in it again. And then he went to the United States, where he was indoctrinated in a really fantastic thing like democracy and freedom of choice, and you know, all kinds of different things, which showed to him how much better a life can be. So, in terms of empowerment, I think, I've imbibed a bit from those experiences, but I think I have passed that on to my kids. And, like we're all independent. They're so empowered. They're so able to take decisions on their own without consulting anyone, that I'm quite happy. I just sit back and relax like the old man with a pipe and a thing, looking out the window and enjoying life. I wish I was in Hawaii, but I'm stuck in this weather. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's how I take empowerment. And then, empowerment has led me to think of starting such a platform.
Yeah.
And engaging people and talking about empowerment. It's
Yeah.
one of those things. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
But-
thank you.
In a way, Akhil, in a way, when you said that, you gave up being Hindu, I don't think socialization has anything to do with religion. It has more to do with cultural practices and cultural norms and things like that.
No.
Because,
Where does
you know-
culture come from? There is
No, so
a very
how,
you cannot divide, you cannot separate culture from religion.
so how come
a
that, yeah.
Christian behaves in a certain way, a Hindu behaves in a certain way, a Muslim behaves in a certain way, and tribals behave in certain ways. They all believe in
Agreed.
certain things and they have certain processes that they stick to. So, if like you're
No.
saying in the hills in India where they have these, one
Jaunsar,
woman
Jaunsar
married
Babar.
so many men.
Yeah.
So that's what they believe in, and they behave in that way. That is their culture, and that is their religion. It's not. You cannot separate the stuff.
Deeply,
Yeah.
I will just say something.
Please
regarding-
do.
Of course, of
Yes,
course.
Maha, please,
No,
please.
but
must.
the reproductive health issues here is very much are very much affected by religious
Religious.
belief.
Yeah.
And,
agreed.
and so the rights of women are
Agreed.
actually how do you call, thrown into the window, So anyway, that's the only thing
Yeah.
I saw.
No,
this
absolutely,
hand-
absolutely. I mean, coming back to that, I mean, until the British banned sati, which was, when the husband dies, then there was actually no use for the woman, for the wife. So they used to cremate her
Yeah.
live with the dead husband. And the British came and they said that this is inhuman, it's
Yeah.
we shouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever reason they had for that, but they banned it, which was good, and I think it was something that started making people think, making the residents in India think that why did we ever do this? Because there was no reason for
Yeah.
doing it. So no,
Okay. Anybody? Yeah.
there are a lot of issues that are raised by this discussion. I mean, the first one was by Nene regarding the decision making on who gets the money in the family.
Yeah.
The woman does all the
Yeah.
work in the household and the animals and the fields and all this kind of stuff, and she doesn't even get a daily wage. She might not even get food that day. So who
Yeah.
gets the money, and why does society allow the male to take a decision on how that money is spent? That's a very big issue even now. The other one was, of course, religion and culture, belief systems, and how do
Yeah.
belief systems really enforce you and
Yeah.
enforce society on doing what they do, treating people as they treat.
Discrimination. Yeah.
Yeah, total discrimination. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just. I mean, women get the brunt of it, of course.
Yeah.
But even men are discriminated against. I mean, you see these people who are poor. I mean, people have no respect for them because they don't have a penny in their pocket. But as a human being, they might be very productive. I mean, they might be able to create wonders. But this has raised a lot of questions. And do you think that we need to have another session to elaborate on certain things?
Dipti has her hand raised.
Dipti,
For a
yeah,
while.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Maja. I think this question, religion, I was thinking, as you spoke, and I was trying to make sense around this debate. And I completely agree, but I also think that within the broader spectrum of culture, let's say of a country, okay, which can be like secular like ours, and then you have the religious constraints. I think that even families, at that level, the same religion in the same country, in the same region, also have different norms and cultures sometimes. So I think it becomes
Okay,
sometimes
yeah.
really personal also. Like when I was growing up and when I, would go to school and I was allowed, my parents didn't say that you don't wear a lipstick because, like that's what, when you are in your teenage, you like to do all of those things, and I had, some of my classmates, female classmates who wanted to do it, but they just had huge restriction, and it had nothing to do with their religion or it's just how the culture was. So I think one
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it just cuts into, yeah, so I agree with you, Shikha, that it
Yeah.
sometimes it's very complex, you can't even separate one from the other. And one more thing, I would just say that I am going to post a TED talk by this person who was born as a man and felt like a woman, and he turned into a woman, and he is, I think, very unique life he has led, or she has led, where he has
I think
lived or
I've,
she has
yeah,
lived. Yeah.
yeah,
And you would
yes,
see
I've
that how
seen.
socialization actually, what you think does not matter, but how people
Yes,
see you makes a difference. So I'll just stop there. Yeah.
yeah,
No, of course.
lovely. Just following up on that, Dipti, sorry, when I was young, my mother, made shorts for me, and I used to wear shorts, and I used to go down the marketplace, very small, in Dehradun, and I had boys following me saying pant bars. Pant bars means, I can't say it in English. I don't know what the word is for pant bars. And I used to be, wondering why are they saying this? Because I was supposed to wear frocks and not shorts. Or, so I've also been through that in my childhood. And that's why I was saying it has to do more with how you are brought up to think what a boy should be and what a girl should be in different countries in different ways. But there is a difference between a boy and a girl everywhere. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That was
I can just say
interesting.
maybe
Yeah.
2 minutes just to
Yeah,
follow
of course,
what
we just have a few
Chika
minutes
was
left.
telling.
Yeah.
The employment starts since, childhood, right? And Akil, myself, I was, my childhood, I spent it in Mali, in Africa. But still, I was, happy, to grow up within a family whereby, there was no issue of boys or girls. And I think I'm among of those lucky, really very lucky girls who had the chance, to get parents who will always tell them, do what you want to do. Don't look because you are a girl, or don't say because you are a boy. And then you
Absolutely.
grow up also in the family setting, saying that your own father wash dishes, your own father cook, likely even for a boy, it will help them also to accept this employment of women. So I want just to tell, even before me to get international exposure, that also contribute definitely, to develop me more self-confidence and self-esteem also, and to speak up. From the childhood, I was also lucky to have such parents who helped me also to grow in such way.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's you don't have to go around the world to be a better person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Naila has her hand up. You want to say something, Naila?
Yeah, I just want to confirm, the strong actually linkages, between the social, norms and the social stereotype and religious. And sometimes also people use religious in order to let those, social, practices exist.
Yeah.
So I just want to confirm that one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say something about your hot pants in Dehradun. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, in
Yeah.
fact, when I was in Nepal, and I was in Nepal
Yeah.
quite a few times in my lifetime. And when I was a kid and studying there, we had Nepali servants come in and do the sweeping and swabbing and all that stuff. And one day, one of the maids, they all wear those cotton saris and stuff like that. So one day her ankles were showing. She was doing something. I don't know what she was doing. And then, I saw this lady sitting there, and I think she was peeling potatoes or doing something. And her ankles were showing, just her ankles. That's just a little above the heel. And when she saw me, then she quickly, put the sari to cover her feet. And then later on I asked my mother, why did she do that? I mean, what is the big deal? And my mother said that, these people are very conservative Hindus, and a woman cannot show any part of her. So that's why they used to wear long sleeve blouses, and they used to cover themselves with the saris. And they would not like to expose any part of them to anyone else except their husbands, I guess. So that thing about hot pants in India is a cultural thing.
Yeah.
And it stems from a very, very, very badly interpreted part of the Vedas.
Yeah.
And Manu didn't do anything to improve the situation anyway. But then that's a different topic entirely. Yeah. So no, that's great. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other? Deepti, you've got your hand up.
Did we answer all the questions?
I think so. I think so.
And
I mean,
or
I
more?
think so.
no. I just
More. Yeah.
I think we've answered. We've discussed a lot. Now, I think that
Yeah.
just one last thing is, I guess it's a yes or no question, is that do you feel that the governments who are the duty bearers for bringing about empowerment, people's empowerment, do you think they're doing the right job? It's just a yes or no.
This is
No.
definitely not a yes and no answer.
Yeah, it's longer, but in the bigger picture, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, this is where individual empowerment comes in.
Contextual,
You
yeah.
know, so
And contextual. Yeah.
because most governments do not, or and even let's just talk about organization. So, but it's really up to those who feel empowered to really continue fighting. So I
Yeah.
am retired. I'm not in the development work anymore, but I do my best to contribute to ensure that people here, government hears what the inequality and the discrimination, whatever issue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long road, but we have to continue. So
No, that's great. Yes, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
Maybe at my side, I can see, the government definitely, if you look about the past up to now, you can see that there was very some improvement. And also, what is very, I don't know, interesting is that we have, all type of document policy, strategies, how to empower it.
Yeah.
We are all here, but the only issue is about its implementation. I think this is
Absolutely.
where really the government and all over, even development actor, we have really to do our best, so that, we wash our talk.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. No, that is very on the point. Yeah.
did
Anyone
we
else?
lose
agree.
somebody? Yeah, we lost. What's her name?
Sumaira?
Not me, I hope.
No,
that's-
No,
Yeah,
from
not yet.
Humaira,
Pakistan.
yeah, I think she left or probably
Yeah,
got dropped off.
she probably
Oh.
has to get dinner organized.
Yeah,
Organized.
maybe.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So that's thank you very much.
Well, thank you
Thank
for.
you.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
Thank
of course.
you.
Of course.
Yeah.
It was nice
Yeah, please,
discussion.
please. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
also,
because regarding actually the government, did you finish, Nini?
yeah, I just want to say that it was very interesting. Also it's also a way of learning. From over side of the world, and I really like it. And I hope also people also will watch the video. Will also have something to take it from it.
No, of
And
course.
thank you also, Akil, and
I hope.
for the organization and also the participation for all of you guys.
No,
Thanks, Akil.
Naila has something to say. Naila,
Yes,
yeah.
actually, regarding, because your question, regarding government, I think as Nini said, yes, there is strategies, they establish units and everything. But for me, it still is not enough, because I think it has to do more with the way even that we develop, our empowerment strategies,
Yeah.
and the involvement, even of the women and girls and men in that process, and also the political will, that demonstrated by resources allocation in terms of when we talk about human and financial resources. I think there is a lot need to be done, but I think the starting point and just the navigation on the beginning of the road, it is already there.
Yeah,
Started,
no,
yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely. You have a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would love to carry this on, but it's it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
We've already done an hour and 36
An hour and
minutes.
30, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now what's going to happen? Thank you very much, all of you, and thank you, Shikha, for co-hosting.
Thank you.
Now, what's going to
Thank
happen
you.
is that this video is going to be edited to come out with a summary, and that summary will be available on Sunday under the coverage of
Okay.
Mozambique. We're covering Mozambique on Sunday, and I'm going to put the summary in that, so you make sure you have a look at that. And the full group discussion, I'll have to compress it somehow because it's going to be a long one.
Ah.
I'll have to compress it, and that should
Right.
be I should be able to have that available on YouTube, but I can only send you a link.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be
Yeah.
available to you, but it'll be linked
Yeah, it's a
because
link, yeah.
it's a huge file.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And
Okay.
really, thank you very much. And there are other group discussions that are going to be identified. If you have a group discussion or if you have a discussion that you would like to have with the group, then you are all on a group already.
Yeah.
The Women's Empowerment
Yeah.
Group.
WhatsApp.
You can just inform me, and then we can reorganize and have another discussion. I think it's not just informative, but it is educational.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. Yeah.
your
I think it was also
experience-
very personal. I think it
Your-
was very
yeah.
personal, connecting. I think
Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah.
happy
Yes.
that I became a part of it. And I think Shikha and,
Exactly.
Akhil, you really structured it very well. I think, it was very nicely done. Like there was no, I mean, I felt that we were very, very respectful and, connected. So
Yeah.
great job and very good questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's all
Thank you.
Shikha's doing.
Thank you, Akil,
Thank you.
Sheikha, and the team.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
everyone.
much.
And
No,
it's
thanks a
nice
lot.
to
And bye-bye.
nice
Bye.
to meet
Yeah, bye-bye.
everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
See you.
everyone.
See you.
Thanks, Akil.
Bye.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you for being here. And we'll get in touch soon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Again.
on Sunday, Mac Abbey is interviewing Mosir.
Mac Abbey?
Ah, Mosi.
Mac Abbey is
Oh,
interviewing
that
Mosir.
is
So you'll be
good
able
to
to
hear.
see. You'll be able to see that on Sunday. He's
Where
going
is Mac Abbey now?
Mac Abbey, he's on the other side of your country. He's in
Where is he?
Los Angeles.
Oh, is he back?
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah, he's been
okay.
back for a while. Yeah, yeah. No, he's
Yeah, for 1 year, yeah,
he's-
he's back.
he's-
Akil, can you give us the time, and it will be on YouTube or where?
I try to put it on Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But you
yeah.
don't know time, not yet.
No, I'm the only one who's going to be working on it, and I have to compile all the stuff and put it together. You know, it's a big
Okay.
file. It's a large
Ah,
file.
okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
especially with this
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
Akil and the group.
Okay,
I-
thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks to all of you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, see
And
you then.
stay in
Bye.
touch. Yeah, stay in touch.
No,
Bye.
you can give me a
Bye.
call.
Take
Yeah,
care.
see you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.